Daenerys is only cool because of her dragons, and she only gets anywhere in the story because she was lucky enough to receive them. This is the number one misconception and reasoning that people give whenever they describe why they don't like Daenerys Targaryen as a character. And it's just fundamentally incorrect. Daenerys and her dragons have somehow created a what came first, the chicken or the egg situation in this fandom. Except we know which one came first, and it's Daenerys. Now I want to say before I get into the bulk of this video that if you are someone who doesn't personally connect with Daenerys, that's perfectly fine, and I do think there are a fair amount of legitimate reasons as to why someone wouldn't have Daenerys in their top 5 POVs, but there is a fine line between just having a subjective preference for other characters and outright overlooking or misinterpreting aspects of the character. So with that out of the way, let's begin. When the dragon eggs are first given to Daenerys by Illyrio, the eggs are roughly 250 years old. Now, previously, whenever we hear about a dragon egg hatching, it's usually within a few years of the eggs being laid. So to call the 3 eggs Daenerys receives dormant or duds would be an understatement. These eggs are rocks. They are literally stones when she receives them. This is where the portion of the Azor Ahai prophecy comes into play. Azor Ahai will wake a dragon from stone, which is what Daenerys ultimately does. But beyond that, what's most important to understanding when regarding how Daenerys is actually the one who creates the dragons is the literal way she brings them to life with the pyre. Daenerys Targaryen breathes life into the dragons by sacrificing portions of her own existence in exchange for them. Khal Drogo, Mary Mazdor, and Daenerys herself are all necessary blood sacrifices needed to create the 3 dragons. So with that being said, now is a good time to note that part of this video is inspired by my friend Hallowed Harpy on TikTok, who I'd recommend you go check out if you're interested in all Daenerys related theories. And in order to understand what occurs in this moment, we need to take a look at what happens directly prior to the sacrifice, with the first thing of note being the placement of the eggs themselves. She climbed the pyre herself to place the eggs around her sun and stars. The black beside his heart, under his arm, the green beside his head, his braid coiled around it, the cream and gold down between his legs. When she kissed him for the last time, Daenerys could taste the sweetness of the oil on his lips. And all of these egg placements explain what kind of personality these dragons will have when they are born. Drogon, who is placed near Khal Drogo's heart, is the first dragon that Daenerys rides, showing that their souls are linked on a deeper level. Rhaegal, who is wrapped under Khal Drogo's braid, is the most aggressive of the 3 dragons. So it makes sense that he would be wrapped around the symbol of power and war in the Dothraki culture, that being the braid. And Viserion, who is a nesting dragon, as we see with Quentyn Martell's final POV, is placed near Khal Drogo's reproductive organs, symbolizing that possibly in the future Viserion will play a vital role in the potential continuation of the dragon line. Again, if this is something you're interested in, I'd highly recommend giving Hallowed Harpy's Viserion's Legacy theory a read. It's great stuff. But moving forward, after the important placement of the eggs, the symbolism of 3 people being sacrificed for the lives of 3 dragons can't be overlooked. The first 2 are incredibly simple. Khal Drogo and Miri are blood sacrifices that breathe life into Viserion and Rhaegal. But the last sacrifice is a bit more complex, since Daenerys doesn't actually die in the traditional sense. The final sacrifice that gives birth to Drogon is Daenerys herself. She willingly walks into the pyre without knowing that she would live, and this act of self-sacrifice is what ultimately gives life to Drogon. It's the willing sacrifice of her own life that breathes life into the dragon that she will eventually ride. Daenerys has this to say as the dragons are born. She heard a crack, the sound of shattering stone. That platform of wood and brush and grass began to shift and collapse in upon itself. Bits of burning wood slid down at her, and Daenerys was showered with ash and cinders. And something else came crashing down, bouncing and rolling to land at her feet. A chunk of carved rock, pale and veined, with gold, broken and smoking. The roaring filled the world, yet dimly through the firefall, Dany heard women shriek and children cry out in wonder. Only death can pay for life. And there came a second crack, loud and sharp as thunder, and the smoke stirred and whirled around her, and the pyre shifted, the logs exploding as the fire touched their secret hearts. She heard the screams of frightened horses, and the voices of the Dothraki raised in shouts of fear and terror, and Ser Jorah calling her name and cursing. No, she wanted to shout to him, no, my good knight, do not fear me. The fire is mine. I am Daenerys Stormborn, daughter of the dragons, bride of dragons, mother of dragons. Don't you see? Don't you see? With a belch of flame and smoke that reached 30 feet into the sky, the pyre collapsed and came down around her. Unafraid, Dany stepped forward into the firestorm, calling to her children. The third crack was as loud and sharp as the breaking of the world. When the fire died at last, and the ground became cool enough to walk upon, Ser Jorah Mormont found her amidst the ashes, surrounded by blackened logs and bits of glowing ember, and the burnt stones of man and woman and stallion. She was naked, covered with soot, her clothes turned to ash, her beautiful hair all crisped away, yet she was unhurt. So with all that being said, Daenerys is the one who made the dragons. All of the accomplishments that she makes after they are born are a byproduct of the sacrifice and pain that she endured in order to give birth to them in the first place. She is called the Mother of Dragons for a reason, and honestly, she is just pretty damn cool. And if you're not the biggest fan of her chapter, that's perfectly fine, but don't try and undercut the character work on display by saying that somehow the dragons made her, when by definition, she is the one who made the dragons. Just want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and feel free to join my Discord server and give me some video ideas for what I will be posting very soon. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day. Peace.